Okay, in today's video, it's going to be really short, and we're just going to talk about the word problems associated with similar triangles. So, unlike last lesson, this is more like the where we were solving for missing side lengths. So we already know that these triangles are similar, and we're going to use the proportions that come when we know things are similar, because last time we learned that when things are similar, they have to have 3 equal angles and 3 proportional sides. So we're going to use that 3 proportional sides to solve some of these problems. And I'm going to tell you up front, I'm not a great person who knows how to draw really well, so we're going to get some little fun pictures, but that'll be okay. Our first one says, a tree casts a tree 24 feet tall, so I know that this distance is 24, casts a shadow that is 12 feet long. So I have one triangle like that. And then Brad, here's Brad. He is 6 feet tall. And we want to know how long his shadow is. So we have our 2 similar triangles. All I'm going to do is set up a proportion. So I'm going to do a height, and I'm just going to put the 24 over the 6, so the height of the tree over the height of Brad. And then I'm going to pair the length of the tree's shadow, which is 12, with the length of Brad's shadow. And then all I do to solve this is cross multiply. So I end up with 24x is equal to 72. And when I divide both of those, we get 3. And this is story problems or real world scenarios. We want to make sure we include a label on that. This is in feet. Our next example is with a tree as well. So here we have another tree. The height of this tree is 4 meters, and it casts a shadow that is 15 meters long. So that's our first triangle. How high is another tree? All right, so we have another tree. Has a shadow that is 20 meters high, or long. Shadows aren't high. And we want to know how tall it is. So we have those 2 scenarios. So we match them up just like we did in the previous example. We match the 4-meter height with the unknown height as a proportion. And we match the shadow with the shadow. We want to make sure that in our numerator, see these the 4 and the 15 right here? They are in the same triangle. And here, our x and our 20 that are a denominator are also in our same triangle. And if we match height with height and make sure both the numerators are in the same triangle and both the denominators are in the same triangle, then we've got our proportion set up correctly. So even if your proportion looks a little different, but you follow those conditions, that's okay. So we're going to cross multiply again. 4 times 20 is 80, so I get 80 equals 15x. And when I divide that, let me throw that in my calculator really fast. We end up with 5.3. Oh, these are not feet. These are meters. I'm going to make that a little more legible for you guys. 5.3 meters. Okay, so now we have a girl that is 160 centimeters tall. So here's our girl. Actually, I remembered this one from class. I'm going to draw her over here. Okay, she stands facing a tree. So there is a tree 360 centimeters in front of her. So here's where our tree shows up. And we don't want to make her floating on the ground, do we? So let's put her up just a little bit. Okay. Her shadow is 90 centimeters long behind her. So hers is going to go this way behind her, and this is 90. All right, let's move. Let's put this 360 in here. Okay, and she is 160 tall. Well, that's a little confusing. Let me put it on the other side of her. She's 160 tall. So we have 160 and 90. And we want to know how tall is the tree. So if the tree's shadow, let's make this one red. If the tree's shadow, and this is not going to be a very accurate triangle, but if the tree's shadow goes all the way here and we pretend that's a triangle, pretend I drew that correctly, then this length right here is going to be 360 plus 90, which is 450. So we know the length of the tree's shadow is 450. So we can match the length of the tree's shadow, 450, with the length of her shadow, which is 90. And the height of the tree is matched with her height, which is 160. And then just like all the other examples, we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. Then after that, homework on similarity with those big numbers. This shouldn't be scary. We can do big numbers. We're just going to use our calculator. So 450 times 160 is 72,000. And when we divide it by 90, and we divide this one by 90, we end up with x is equal to 800 centimeters. Okay, we have one last example that we're going to go over. So in this one, we have Sonia is on a football field. Okay, so here's our friend Sonia. She is on a football field. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a football field, and here's our goalpost on our football field. She wants to know how tall the goalpost is, so she wants to know this height. She places a mirror on the ground and walks backwards. So at some point, we're going to have a mirror on the ground right here. That's going to be our mirror. So that she can see the tip of the goalpost in the mirror. All right, so that means that we are creating a triangle this way to the mirror and a triangle from her height to the mirror. I guess I don't need to actually connect that to her eyes. So, use your imagination. It's what she can see. She's going to see she's going to look in the mirror with her eyes and see the height of that goalpost. All right, so Sonia is 65 inches tall. So this length is 65. She's 100 inches from the mirror. And the goalpost is 830. So these two triangles are not inside each other like they were in the example with the girl and her shadow, but they are the two triangles that are touching each other. So how tall is the goalpost? So we are going to line these up just like every proportion we have done so far. We're going to do her height of 65 is a proportion with the height of the goalpost. Her distance from the mirror is 100. And the distance from the mirror to the goalpost is 830. And we go ahead and cross multiply this last guy. And we do 100x equals 65 times 830 in our calculator, 53,950. And then to solve for x, we divide by 100, and we get x is equal to 539.5 inches. All right, and then this was an outdoor activity, which if you are just getting these notes, you won't need to do. So I hope that was helpful. Make sure you ask if you have any questions.